Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Stills.
Hello and welcome to this emergency broadcast of the Gull'S Eye View. I'm joined by Tom.
Good evening.
Joined by Chris.
Evening, lads. I feel like I've spoken to you more than I've made what this week.
Yeah, I know. I feel evening, Tom.
Good evening.
Where do we start?
What day?
What a day. We just all said on there. I mean, the news out of the football club could change so quickly. I've gone from, as we've all said on here, I'm so upset a lot of today, and I still am, to then having a bit of hope that actually something might happen, and you know, it's got to get worse before it gets better. But I don't know if I'm just riding on a bit of a hopeful wave that I've seen the fan base that I've missed being United become United again, and the reminder of how magical this community is. It's all a really mix of emotions right now. We all say our bits. My bit is, I mean, last night was pointless, wasn't it? I spent all the time editing that video last night, and I'm changing this will probably be pointless soon. So I could be really happy one moment with some news that's going to happen, and it could all change. My points are obviously desperately sad for most of today. This amazing football club can't go. It's been the community for all of us for so long. There's all these lovely photos of all of us we've been putting online of like our first Torquay game and that, and all the family members that are with us and not with us that we've gone to these football games with. This is our community, and you know, this is what we've been saying on here for many, many weeks and months now. You know, we knew this was probably going to happen, something like this. Did we expect to be so quickly now? No, but this is where we are now. It was going to happen at some point. Let's be honest. Then we all agree.
That's it. We sold our soul to a guy who's got no loyalty to the club, really, as he's not a supporter. So we all knew this could happen. It's just how it's happened, isn't it?
Yeah.
We kind of you kind of expect some kind of build up. You know, oh, we're going to sell the club. There's going to be a bit of a time. You know, something's going to happen, but it's now, isn't it? So it's time
to unite.
Time to get going.
This was going to happen one way or another, and I just feel something somewhere is going to get sorted. I just want my football club to be supporting and looking forward, and I am actually looking forward to playing more in a weird way. It's going to be really emotional on Saturday. We'll go into the management side later in this episode, but get fully behind Downs and the lads at the weekend. Is my big thing to say. The last thing, I'm not going to be the most clued up person on this, but Torquay United are not in administration yet, as far as I'm aware. We've been handed over to administrators. It could all change by tomorrow, but we've been handed over to administrators. Someone point me out if I'm wrong at this point, despite the news. We're not in administration yet. You know, we've had the plug pulled, but it could be sorted. But right now, it's all a bit of hope. But we know if it's still nothing in a few weeks, that's when we're going to start to get really worried, isn't it?
When does that happen, administration? Is it when you can't pay your bills at all? Because we're going to have money coming in, aren't we, for Saturday?
It's still our director, as far as we can work out when we're looking on Company's House before he came on.
Administration will then start stripping assets, I guess, to pay your bills and that kind of situation. That's what can happen.
I guess it can, but I guess the other thing is that they've already started. You know, it can't be a coincidence that the manager leaves a few hours after, because let's be honest, the most financially dependent person on the club is the manager. He's going to earn more than the players, isn't he? A club like ours, so the fact he's gone cannot be a coincidence. It can't be.
Let's be honest. He was hanging around for a payday anyway, wasn't he, Gary Johnson? He can say all he wants about being, oh, I'm a supporter, I'll stick with the club. Yeah, right. He was just waiting around, wasn't he? Just wasting.
I mean, Gary Johnson.
Somebody on our forum said he was wasting our resources, and that's exactly how I see it.
I agree, Tom.
Very disappointing.
I agree.
It was not how. Sorry, Tom. I'll let you come. Not how this was meant to end. Let's go on to Gary Johnson a bit. This was not how. It's such. I'm struggling to get my head together. To be honest with you, it's the amount of emotions with all Torquay fans right now. don't even know. But this is not how it was meant to end. Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson was the first manager in years that got me really behind watching my football club again. To then being the one that I just am so disappointed, and he really kind of showed up that side of him. That's a really big shame how he sort of treated the fans the last couple of years, his lack of accountability, and today says it all, doesn't it? Today says it all. Well,
he was supposed to be on our side. I posted on Twitter. He was supposed to be not one of us, but he's supposed to understand, support us, our concerns, our worries. He was supposed to be the guy in the middle who you could trust, but he's become one of them, and that's just been so sad to watch. And
so sad to watch.
You felt that on the forum, didn't you? Because it was this cozy group of people all looking after each other, and you could feel trouble rising because any club would have sacked him in the last few weeks.
We all knew from that fans forum secretly. I always wanted to see the best.
Telling, isn't it?
I always wanted to see the best in people. I always wanted to give, even though I knew it was going to go, these people the chance.
But it's been telling me they started to go through the motions, haven't they? Because unlike their first year they were here, they sacked Gary Owers for being mid-table in the National League South. That's when they had dreams. They were hoping they wanted to push forward. Now they were starting to go through the motions, lose their interest. Giving up on the stadium was the other thing, but not sacking Gary Johnson was just notable, wasn't it?
The stadium was what they were here to do. It's obvious, and
that was their only priority.
Yeah, exactly. That's why as soon as they couldn't get a council, they've disappeared. Tom, you can go on that bit.
That was Osborne's only remit from the moment he stepped through the door at Torquay United. It's sad. It's a sad day for the club. It's a sad day for the fans. Gary Johnson, we finally got our wish. He's gone, but of course you'd rather it not be in these circumstances. But I think it was very telling in his statement that he didn't thank the fans at all in any capacity, which just told me everything, to be honest, about him. His legacy in my eyes is completely tarnished. I can't even look back at the good times. He outstayed his welcome, and ultimately he just checked out, didn't he? I don't know if he was told a few weeks ago that there's no money for the squad, and whether the running form we've had maybe correlates to the ownership side. I don't know, but it's just a sad ending. And, we've gone all through the motions today. I've gone from shock, sadness, anger to now, I don't know. I just feel, I guess, cautiously positive. I know it sounds silly at where we are at this moment, but just feel like we've got our club back in a way. The fans, I know it sounds completely ridiculous right now, the administrative side and everything else, but the fans ultimately have brought this towards the owner. We had that newspaper article that came out this morning, which was very well written.
Yeah, that seems like days ago now.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that soon after that, Osborne got to play more and decided to cut things there. This club will always be ours, and this club, I do believe, will continue in some capacity, whether it will be as Torquay United as we know it now, whether it will be a Phoenix club. I just look forward now. Get to play more on Saturday. Show your support for your team.
Yeah, can't wait.
Downs, get behind Aaron Downs. I know he's had a lot of stick this season, and rightfully so.
But it might.
Ultimately,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Tom, but it might, in my hopeful mind, let's see how much of this is Aaron Downs. Let's see if it was Aaron Downs stuck by Gary Johnson all this time. Let's actually see what happens on Saturday. Really, very interesting. I'm sure you'll want to point that.
He gets the tiniest bit of credit for coming over and taking the flak from the fans week in, week out, apologising for the rubbish that Gary Johnson put on the pitch there. And ultimately, lads, we are, in a way now, we are one club united, aren't we? The fans are going to come together better than ever. We will get through this, Yellow Army. We are going to get through this.
Don't matter what you think, who's to blame, who's to what. We're together now. It doesn't matter. And I've seen some posts about that from people who've had different views. We are together now.
And there will be some people who will put the blame on us. There will be people who put the blame on the fan groups, on the Trust. If that's what you believe, folks, I'm not going to be able to change your mind. But this day was coming for a long time. It was going to happen one way or another. He was going to pull the plug at any stage. I think this football club would have probably just petered out. And in a couple of years' time, he would have just put the funds out and then put us out of our misery. And we've got a chance now. We have got a chance to get this football club back and to get it run in the right way. Again, it might not be the Torquay United we know. It might be a Phoenix. We might have to start again. But we need to stay positive. We need
going to get
roll our
worse
sleeves
before it
up.
gets better.
Clark Football Club. Clark Osborne did not give a single damn about this football club. He only cared about playing more. And as soon as he knew he couldn't get it, he's walked off with his tail between his legs. He says he's never failed at anything in life. Congratulations, Clark Osborne. You failed my football club. And I hope to never, ever see you run another football club ever again for as long as I live.
Yeah, 100%. And I want everyone involved with that operation to never, ever set foot once it's all sorted. And I hope in a way that, we can't. So I hope in a way everyone gets an agreement they want. But again, that's me just being hopeful that it's all everyone's gonna, let's pull out and sell it to whoever. But let's just, the football pyramid, not just Torquay United, needs to learn. These sorts of people who are not into football, who do not have the right intentions, the community and the club should be nowhere near a football club. I'm talking about Torquay United. I mean, everyone knows this, Maxwell, Bury, all that. Why does this keep happening? Why is this not getting more, all this regulation stuff as well? I know there's been these things about regulations coming in the top 5 leagues, which we obviously wouldn't have had if we had gone up anyway, rumoured, and the bill that was passed in government or across government in the last 6-7 months. But if you believe in them, that is, but this has
unfortunately part of it was our own desperation to sell the club.
Of course,
It goes back to Dave Phillips when he was in charge. Could have gone down the fans route then, maybe taken the team down a division or two, but it could have happened then, and then we'd have come back stronger. And you'd look about it years ago and go, yep, that was a good decision at the time. Instead, he took the loan. It was a desperate move to keep us afloat. That's fine, but we pay for it in the end, don't we? It comes around, because unless you get proper owners who are going to stick with you, whatever, which are hard to find, this can happen, isn't it?
Yeah. And if we've got
from adversity here and now, we can rise, but I just
can't
hope
look at the past now. It's only the future.
I hope everybody gets together, the fans come together, as Tom said, strength from adversity. Get down and play on Saturday. That's all we can do at the moment, isn't it? Good old push to roll our sleeves up and support the club. That's it. Sorry, Chris. Is it your turn to speak?
No, it's very interesting. It's hard to unpick what the day's been. There's a few things I think from it, which I think are interesting, upsetting, heartbreaking, whatever you want to say. Really, I think the way the whole thing happened was odd. We went from Gaffer's presses out. Oh, great, we get to listen to that again, and people to act. I mean, why did they let him do that? Because he can't.
Really didn't know, did he at all?
He didn't know.
So why would you put him through that for a start? To then say, oh, by the way, because within 6 hours of that going out online, he's gone. So that seems odd.
Yeah.
I think the fact we've all feared Osborne pulling his money out, haven't we? But the fact that he's trying to put the club to administration, I think, is interesting, because there's a couple of unanswered questions from his statements that I would have. What's happened in the last 5 weeks which have changed his financial situation?
Is it the stadium? Not
it must be to do with the stadium, but that would even if they'd have sold him playing more and he was building it, that would have still been years away. Yeah. So what's changed that's led to
the council been digging their heels in stronger, and he's just given up on it, I think.
Absolutely, but you don't need us into administration to do that. You can walk away. So the fact he's put it into administration would suggest he's in pretty major financial trouble. Because if administration does happen, he can get his money back.
Mm-hmm.
If me or you buy the club tomorrow, he can say to us, right, you owe me, £6 million, whatever. But if he goes into administration, he can't do that.
No. But it means he's not paying any more money out either, Chris. That's the trouble. That's what he's thinking at. It's like going down the shop, isn't it? Well, I'm not going to go to another one, so I don't want to spend any more money. And he's almost writing that off. I don't know if he can reclaim any money, but people are obviously going to spend much money on the Torquay United, aren't they? But I feel that he's just stopping. He just doesn't want to spend any more at this point, does he?
And if he just wants to cut his losses and then we get sold on that, fair enough. But Is he going to all those? This probably isn't the place for us to talk about. It's probably a lot more qualified people, I guess. But Company's House, the Riviera loans, and all stuff like that. When does that come into it? This is the thing. This is the thing we always get our head around.
That's the unknown at the moment. What he's going to want for the club, isn't it?
And I agree with what Sam said at the beginning. It's just a strange feeling of emotions because I read it initially and it was just like, what? It was just like total devastation. You're like, oh, what does the future look like? To kind of like, as soon as you start digesting it, okay, that means Osborne's gone. Obviously, later in the day, excuse me, just as you're kind of trying to get your head around and digest it, that Johnson's gone. You're like, blimey, that's something else to process. And I think, as I've said for weeks and weeks and probably months, maybe even more than 1 year, that feel of optimism is kind of hard to shake, isn't it? Which is weird when you think about the kind of the situation. But I totally agree. We can't wait to get to the game on Saturday. I'll go with my 2 young sons. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been a very pleasant environment the last few weeks. It hasn't been what you'd want to take your children to go and watch in terms of the feel and the atmosphere. And but everything on Saturday, I think, will just be all about getting behind the lads, getting behind the team, getting behind the players and Downs, and trying the first step in taking the club forward and trying to win some game of football.
It's a weird mix of optimism and scariness, isn't it? Because another element to it is this is people's livelihoods at Torquay United, isn't it? The people's jobs. And I was thinking about that on the way home earlier, and that's a scary part for these people because they're
the players and the staff.
And that's a scary time for them. And that hits home a little bit, doesn't it? The situation we're in, because it's not all about the football, is it? A lot of behind the scenes and stuff like that. So it's worrying. I'm sort of caught between the scared to angry to excited to optimism to I just don't know how it's going to play out, do we?
Just the speed of how it's all happened.
It's
really
going to be a good outcome, but it's been hard to digest, isn't it, guys?
It kind of hurts a lot now, and when you think about, you need to catastrophize, don't you? The human brain goes to worst case scenario, but this could be the pain we've got to do for now. If we, of course, there's the points deduction which we've not mentioned, which I think if we do go to administration will be inevitable. So then it becomes about staying in the league. And then if we can do that, which let's face it, we should be able to, then you can then start to hopefully get to a position whereby, we've been saved and we can start looking at new managers and the owners, and all of a sudden it will be a totally fresh wave of optimism, won't it? But there's quite a few steps and quite a lot of ifs and buts.
And the questions are what players we get to keep, who stays, if there be people leaving, if we're going to have to start playing youth players, isn't it? That's how the weeks play out. Because you get weakened, don't you? And we haven't got. We've got a few.
Our players start leaving
all
of a sudden. That's the next worrying thing.
We've struggled to get results at all recently. I know,
but
it's not that because of the bad atmosphere, but
at a strict football point of view, strictly on the pitch.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the lads totally in now are playing in an atmosphere where, and they're professionals. It shouldn't make a difference. It should have been before anyway. But there's suddenly their livelihoods at stake. They're, the club, the fans will be all behind them. It totally changes how the football club is.
I just hope that pressure isn't too much.
Look at Southend. Look at Southend's season, right? Start of the season, all in turmoil, great form. They then get saved and keep going on a bit of a run. All of a sudden, they're starting losing again and going back towards the bottom four. As soon as their jobs aren't at stake. You know what I mean? There's this weird thing. I hope
it's a very English sort of thing, though. When the chips are down, they're fighting together.
Yes, we get together.
I'm hoping that'll come out on Saturday.
Yeah.
Positive thoughts amongst the crowd should help. Just hopefully the pressure's
not actually suspended for it. So good.
Just hopefully the pressure's not too much for lads, because big crowd expectation. You just don't know how they're going to cope at the moment. And let's be honest,
from the players' perspective,
no,
but from the players' perspective, let's be honest. You talk about the fans, the owners, the manager, and all of that, but that cannot be a good atmosphere to play in, can it? So all of a sudden, and training can't have been pleasant. When you're losing, it's pleasant. So none of it can have been pleasant. So regardless of the worries and the concerns, which of course they're going to have around, livelihoods, will they have a job, all that kind of stuff. In the short term, it's going to be it's got to feel a much better place to play. All that's been that cloud that's been hanging around the club, around ownership and the manager. And tomorrow will be a totally different feel. It's kind of the start of the first day of the rest of our lives job, isn't it? You would think, if I was down, you'd be, locking them up and poking them with a stick, wouldn't you, before they come out on Saturday? And, you just want to come out and just go for their throat, and just really hit it hard and get an early goal and get the crowd up even more and just really just say, look, lads, it's relatively simple, just go for it.
Yeah, it's down. It's
Go for
it's
it.
down to us now. It's down to us to make that atmosphere, and I'm sure the players will know that. Now we're all in it together. Um, I'm sure we're going to have a good crowd on Saturday now. There's been so many people who've been boycotting under this regime and have said they're not going to return until Osborne's gone or Gary
Yeah,
Johnson's
absolutely.
gone. And, sadly, I can't make it on Saturday for work reasons, but I'm going to buy a ticket and put my money into the club now because the club needs us and we need to get behind the lads and just try and make the best of this situation. And whatever will be. But as I keep saying, I'm fairly confident that we, as fans of this football club, we will make the difference. And whatever happens, we will make sure, in whatever capacity, that football will continue in Torquay United. Without the money, if it means we have to start again, so be it. I mean, this whole situation could have been so much different if I was never opposed to leaving Plainmoor, but you have to get yourself firstly back into the Football League, and you've got to just build the argument a bit more. If we're in League One and we're kind of in the upper echelons of League One, then you can kind of understand the reasoning why you want to relocate, move to Plainmoor, build a big stadium, and you kind of understand that. But when you're in the National League South and you're struggling like we have all season long, it just makes that argument so much more harder for the fans to accept. And ultimately, it's just the whole regime has been a failure. But of course, that playoff final, how different everything could have been had we
We
won that.
wouldn't be in this situation if we got promoted and didn't League Two right now.
But that's football, that's sport,
You don't know. I mean, Hartlepool went up that season; they came straight back down.
Yeah,
So
we were a better team though. We were a better.
Telling me we'd have stayed up definitely.
No, you are right, Dom. You are right. And we should have won the league anyway. So
I worry about the ladies' team. I worry about the youth setup if we do
separate,
go
I think.
into
I think the
administration.
ladies' team are separate. I believe.
But
My understanding might be wrong there.
there's a lot of uncertainties at the moment, and obviously things will come out in time. And hopefully, all being well, someone will take on the challenge, invest in the club. What can you say? This day's been coming for a long, long time.
Yeah,
Ever
we could
since
all be in
Osborne stepped
tears in
through the
4
door.
weeks again.
If it wasn't today, it was going to be at the end of the season. If it wasn't the end of the
Get it done
season, it was
now.
going to
Get it
be.
done now is what I say. Get it done. That is what I've been saying. If it's going to happen and you're going to pull the plug, let's not drag it out and we can get the rebuild sorted sooner rather than later. It's not going to be nice. It could be a disaster.
There's got to be interest there, hasn't there? As well, I mean, it's not.
It's a big potential.
Just look at the potential.
Look at Exeter.
Exactly.
Can I say two things actually before I forget? Because there's so many things I've been trying to say it, but then I keep forgetting it. One thing, another really weird thing about happened today, right? You know the articles on the website we said they're robotic, they're emotionless. The last one about coming to the game on Saturday, all of a sudden, we all noticed in the chat, didn't we? A few of us did.
Yeah.
How different that was. It's almost like the leeches have gone and someone's just got in and gone, right, I can write what I want. Unless
it was like George Edwards had been taken out of the conversation.
Yeah, unless it was just someone coming in and being like, oh, please get together. Yeah, and then we're going to pocket all our money, which I hope it's not going to be. I wouldn't want to suggest that, but surely it can't be. That was a fan run. We need you together to pay the bills. And it was so weird, because you like to think all the money that goes at the weekend is going to the club and not be taken out of it or whatever. But that's another thing that did sadly cross my mind, but I wouldn't want to accuse anything right now. But yeah, it's just it has been coming for such a long time. And I had one more point and I've forgotten it. So you carry on, whoever you were interrupted, Chris.
No, I the other thing I was thinking earlier on, of course, is will we ever hear any talk of a new stadium again? I don't know. Who knows what the future holds, but I bet we don't.
When we're in the Prem in 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
When Swanee takes over and he guides us to the Europa Conference final.
I have had it in my CV. Once I've done my BBC ITV, have you seen my Football Manager series, lads? But no, I mean, anyone with a bit of sense between any fan watching this can get into the media and build a better.
They couldn't take the flag
on the pitch. All of us can. Just get football people involved and get out the leagues. Look at what other teams are doing. That's all I want to see my football club.
Talk to other clubs, learn lessons. Talk to people in the know and learn lessons from them. Work your club around that. This was a close knit group, wasn't it? At Plainmoor, Osborne, Edwards, and that they didn't seem to talk to anybody else. They just went about their business, stuck to their plan. They just didn't seem to learn anything as they go along.
Wouldn't you love to know, Dom, the order of events of the last week, really, to know just how much of it is in reality what it feels like. It feels like the talk of the protests the continually poor result, the manager, the talk of the protest, particularly this weekend, the article that came out this morning. I wonder how much of that has then led to this, or if this was always going to happen. Because it feels like, doesn't it? It feels like it's all kind of led to, do you know what, actually, sod that. And then obviously financial problems that he's had himself, clearly. But
I have to ask Clark, but they're clearly in tune with what's going on, aren't they? They are very.
I would like to have Kevin Nicholson, once this all dies over, I would like to have Kevin Nicholson and a few people maybe come out, maybe professionally, and then just speak a little bit. I'm glad Tim Steele said his bit today.
Yeah.
He didn't hold back, did he? Good old Tim.
But you could tell when we spoke to him, he loved his time there. He's got a real affinity for the club, same as Mans. Mans was
Hargreaves and all that,
back in Downsy. Good old Clive had a pop at him, called him his favourite right back. Never changes Clive, does he? Always, but Mans always bites about the right back comment, doesn't he? But he said you can have it for today, didn't he? But things like that, and Jake Andrews has been on Twitter, hasn't he? It's amazing how these people still monitor it and they still see what goes on at the club. It's and you just hope now, as much as I just hope that we can go and win the game on Saturday. That would, because if we turn up, get beaten again, potentially 10 points around, oh no. But if we can turn up, play well, win, what a difference that would make.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that word, isn't it? Accountability. They couldn't handle being accountable for any failings.
No.
And if one article and, all these posts by numerous Torquay fan groups and all the protests that were meant to be coming, if they couldn't handle that, then that just tells me about their character, to be honest.
Yeah, well, weak character of them were.
Weak mentality.
Let's see how last bit. I want you to prove that you aren't this weak character with how you deal with how this club gets sold. But you've set such a low bar now. Such weak people, insecurity.
Insecure is the thing, isn't it? They
blame
talk to supporters.
So in that fans forum, it's a Bristol person. Those people when they've gone through a lot of things, and after a while, you find that they always argue with someone else. You know what I mean? They're always in these situations. It's always someone else's fault in their lives. Oh, it was Bristol Council's fault. It was this fault. As soon as he said it, you just knew a slight bit of ounce of Torquay Council quite rightly going, yeah, nah, we see through your plans, and then they don't get it. Oh, we had the stadium built, but it was their fault. He was just setting, that whole fans forum was there to set himself up to be like, well, me. He's clever, Clark Osborne. He's clever in the media. The way he's clever. He's clever, but he's very well media trained. But
I don't think we're getting the in-house fan forum now, are we?
You don't reckon? No. No.
Listen,
I think it spoke volumes, didn't it? I said it earlier when I asked them, didn't I? And it was George that answered. I asked them, so how are you going to get us up the league? How are you going to improve things? And the One Club United thing came out. There was no explanation.
No.
That spoke volumes because they didn't really know, did they? They didn't know by that point.
But it's incredible, isn't it? How, if you think, when was that? That was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Incredible how it's all unravelled since then.
It really has.
It has literally unravelled, yeah.
We've only won one game since, haven't we, Chris?
Yeah.
I can see about 20,000 set pieces.
Yeah, all of us, we don't concede from set pieces. We do our research. We've conceded stacks from set pieces. We've barely won a game. The owners have gone. Hopefully Edwards will go. It's incredible, isn't it? How is it from
He's gone, hasn't he? Anyway, has he gone already?
Not yet.
Edwards?
We're going to do Kelly's Corner quickly before we've all got to get off, and I've got to edit it. Chris's quiche will be burning at 9:45. This is a commitment we do for our football club. Right, Kelly's Corner. There's been loads of replies. Thank you all. Try and summarise it if best you can, Tom.
Yeah, I won't go into all of them, but again, thank you everyone who did contribute at such short notice. We just wanted opinions on the club entering administration, Gary Johnson leaving, and whether you were fearful or hopeful for the club's future. So,
even though we're not actually in administration, but potentially, yeah,
potentially administration.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Off the line blog. Regards to the first point, going to be tough but worth it for long-term game. Gary Johnson going is wonderful news. Time to move forward with a young and up-and-coming coach with fresh ideas, although that's not Downs. And hopeful for the future. I don't want some big spending, lavish owner. I want one who makes us stable and recruits a top coach. We have got Rachel. She says, initially it felt like awful news for the buoyancy and stability of the football club. Johnson leaving is the best bit of news. This Thursday, fresh coaching setup now, which means Downs needs to leave too. And lesser clubs have folded. There's some anxiety about our survival chances, but there's always hope. Alan says, with the amazing community of supporters that have been brought together, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years, he's optimistic that whichever scenario plays out, that it will bounce back from this. Tibbs has said he feels more hopeful than he's ever felt in a while. If this is the club or a Phoenix club, we have to make sure that we never get stuck with an owner like Clark Osborne again. Gary Johnson has burnt his bridges. Hopefully, whilst he's standing on them, he has shared plenty of dull financial governance views on administration. Richard Hisham says, this day was always coming since Osborne took over, but I hope we can rise like a phoenix. He's not surprised that Gary Johnson's gone, sinking ships and rats and all that. He was well behind the times, and we should have gone 2 years ago. We can do so much better. And he's fearful for the future, but he's more hopeful we will rise again. Jake Reeves says he doesn't understand why Osborne didn't put us up for sale weeks ago. Maybe there's something in motion already, or maybe he just didn't give a toss. Dan the Man says needed to get darker before it got brighter. Today hopefully will be the darkest day for the club. The parasite is out of our club, i.e. Gary Johnson. We can pick up the pieces and put it back together. Please get to games and get behind the team. Have a look at a few more. Bob Bamber says he's glad Johnson is gone. No ill will, but he thinks it could get super ugly soon. He thinks administration is inevitable. Credit to the council for not playing the game. The future is a little unstable. I know the club will exist in one form or another, but a Phoenix club might take a decade to get back to where we are currently. And yeah, I'll end it there. There's so many people who have responded, and I'm really sorry I won't have a chance to read them all, but they're all on our Twitter page. Some very valid opinions on there, but just time permitting today, I won't be able to read them all out. But
and thank you for all the lovely comments that we've all had.
Yes.
For doing Gull'S Eye View. You know, it's a bit of a weird one tonight. It almost feels like we should be in buckets of tears, but actually, you know, if we did it at 2:30 this afternoon, it'd be very different to how we are now, and nothing.
It would literally be tears then, I think, pretty much.
Yeah, there was a few. There's a few. I was shocked.
Yeah.
This is my football club, you know, but
there's some lovely
don't know why I just feel so warm about all this United stuff at the moment. Obviously, that won't save our football club necessarily in money. We know that investment, but
there's some lovely pictures on our Talkie Talk at the moment of just fans just showing their support and showing, you know, when they first started supporting the club and all the good times. Trust me, folks, the good times are going to return to this football club. We are going to have to really dig deep. This is our lowest ebb. This is our lowest ebb, but we will come for it one way or another. We just need to be
one club united.
One club united. Be positive. Show your support.
Thanks, George.
Show that this club will never, ever be mismanaged and misrun again. Get there on Saturday. Support the team. If you're not going, buy a ticket anyway. And come on, the Goals. We're going to get through this one way or another. This is our club now. We can do this.
I haven't read everything I want to read yet off various social media because I've not had time yet today, but I did see something earlier on in one of the various groups and chats where some people who are northern based and a couple have just said, oh, well, I'm coming. We're coming at the weekend. We're coming down. Someone's like, oh, I'd love to, but I can't. And they live nearby. And they're like, well, if the lift the issue, we'll pick you up. You just come down with us. And straight away, you're kind of like, wow, that's the kind of stuff and they'll know who they are. And I read that and I thought, wow, that just goes to show, doesn't it? That straight away, that kind of galvanizing, that one decision I talked about for several weeks. And straight away, people are like, right, I'm there. I'm back into my club. I'm there. I'm supporting you. I'm going to travel however many 100 miles, and I'm there because it's up and it's on. And I read that and I thought, wow, straight away that goes to show the change straight away.
What a fan base. Dom, anything to add?
It's the black clouds are being lifted, aren't they? Osborne, Edwards, Johnson. I don't want to see him at Playmore ever again. And we will rise again. I just don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen next. We can never be sure, can we? But we'll fight for it, won't we, lads? We'll be there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Lot of big fan base. We're ex-league club. We could still be that again, but it could take time. And we just got to do our best. That's all we can do, isn't it? And just keep going.
One big final message. It's in the description of our videos every week. Join the Torquay United Supporters Trust.
Let's make sure, guys, that we look back on today in the future as the moment that our club changed for the better. We are going to have to go through some tough times now, but we are strong enough united to get through it. So just get there Saturday, guys and girls. Support the team. We'll get through this. This is Torquay United. We don't give up easily. Look at our history. We always put up a fight. Fight for your club. Fight for our club. Let's make this club ours. Come on, the Goals.
There's your outro. Cheers, Tom. Rob my starlight. Right, thank you, everyone. Thanks for the rest. Yeah, as the man said, we'll see you next week. Everything's going to change. Let's just hope it's for the better. It's probably going to get worse before it gets better, but we're going to be there. Okay, right. You three, thank you as usual. Seen you more than my family this week, so
What a time to be alive, one here.
yeah.
Football family,
Right,
eh?
thank you everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Stills.